Paper Crafters Library. In this video I'm going to show you how to create the 2014 Just a Note calendar and notepad tin. Now this is a 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 inch hinged tin, and inside it features our custom designed 2014 calendars as well as our notepads, which are sold in the Paper Crafters Library store. So in order to create this project, you're going to need the following supplies. First off, you're going to need an 8 1/2 by 11 inch sheet of Whisper White cardstock onto which you're going to print your Just a Note labels. Now this has been provided in a PDF format, and you simply insert your Whisper White cardstock into your printer and print it out. These are designed to work with a 1 3/4 inch circle punch or 1 3/4 inch circle die. You're going to need 3 pieces of pattern paper. One that's going to go on the inside of your tin, and I usually like to keep a fairly neutral pattern. This is just white on yellow, and this is a 5 by 5 inch piece. Then I like to choose something that's a little bit more patterned for the front cover of my tin. So here I have a 4 7/8 by 4 7/8 inch piece. Now these papers come from Stampin' Up's Eastern Elegance Designer Series paper collection. And then I've cut a little strip here that's 1 inch by 4 7/8 of an inch. And I'm using this in place of a ribbon on the front cover of my tin just to help keep things a little bit more flat. And also because I didn't have a wide enough ribbon that would go on the front of this that coordinated with the colors of my pattern paper. Now from crushed curry cardstock, I've cut a 5 by 5 inch piece, and that's what I'm going to be matting my pattern paper piece onto for the cover. And then I have punched a 2 3/8 inch scallop circle using Stampin' Up's Scallop Circle punch, the 2 3/8 inch punch. Of course, you're going to need your tin. These are 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 inch hinged CD tins. Now these are different than the Stampin' Up skinny silver tins that Stampin' Up used to sell a number of years ago. These are square, whereas the tins that Stampin' Up used to sell were rectangular. The calendars and the notepads, these were custom designed by us here at Paper Crafters Library, and these were specifically designed to fit inside this tin. They're not going to fit inside Stampin' Up skinny silver tins without tweaking them. You're going to have to probably trim along the bottom just to make it a little bit shorter. So really these were designed to go with these tins, or of course you can create something with this without using a tin as well. And then of course there's our notepad. So here I have our 2014 calendar and our notepads, which once again were designed to fit inside the tin but can be used for other purposes as well. In terms of accessories, you're going to need to have a 2 3/8 inch scallop circle punch, a 1 3/4 inch circle punch, and then a corner rounder of some sort. This one is, I believe, this is the 3/16 inch corner rounder punch from Stampin' Up. This is the old style. You could use a 1/4 inch corner rounder punch as well. I have clear rhinestones, and these are Stampin' Up's. I have some sticky strip or red liner tape. We sell this in, we partner with people to sell this in bulk rolls. And then finally I have a little pen that fits perfectly inside the tin. And I found this pen, and there's also pencils. You can buy them at the dollar store, sometimes at the office supply store. There's various places, but you need something that's a little bit smaller than a standard size pen or pencil to fit inside the tin. So once all your supplies are gathered, we're ready to go ahead and start making the tin. So the first thing I'm going to do is to take my corner rounder punch and round each of the corners of my 5 by 5 crushed curry cardstock piece, my 4 7/8 by 4 7/8 pattern paper piece, and my second 5 by 5 inch pattern paper piece. So I'm simply going to place each corner inside the corner rounder punch and punch. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that to all my corners, and then I'll be back. So I finished rounding all my corners. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to stick my pattern paper piece that I'm using for the front cover onto the crushed curry cardstock piece. Now for this I am going to use some of my sticky strip, simply because this calendar and notepad tin is going to be handled a lot. I usually carry mine around either in my car or in my purse. So it's going to be in and out and handled a lot, and the last thing I want is it to fall apart on me. And that's where red liner tape comes in super handy, because of course it's a super strong adhesive. So I'm placing a strip along either side, a long strip along 2 of the sides opposite each other, and then smaller strips here in the middle. You could put a little piece at the very center if you wanted to, or you could just use regular double-sided tape for the very center. So then this piece is going to get centered on here. Now generally what I like to do when I'm working with sticky strip is I like to center my piece first without removing the backing from my sticky strip. So make sure it's centered. Then holding it firmly in one hand, I will lift up an edge and remove the backing from my red liner tape, then release my paper back down and stick. And then that way I know that it's at least stuck in one section, and as I handle this, it's not going to slip. If I were to just put my adhesive on the back of my pattern paper and then try to stick it to my cardstock, essentially it's kind of like a one-shot deal, because red liner tape is so strong. To peel it apart, if you try it by hand, it's going to rip, or if you use a heat tool, it can warp your paper. So better off to get it right the first time. Then, once I have my one edge stuck down, that's where I come back and start peeling off my remaining pieces of red liner tape. And I usually like to use the edge of my scissors just to help me grasp that red liner backing. And then place your piece of pattern paper down, and then it's now stuck together. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to stick my patterned paper piece on here so that it's about 1 inch up from the bottom edge. Now I'm just going to use regular double-sided adhesive for this because I'm going to use my red liner tape or sticky strip once again when I place my label on there. So I'm sticking this so that the bottom edge is 1 inch up from the bottom edge of my crushed curry cardstock piece, like so. Next I'm going to take my labels and my 1 3/4 inch circle punch, and I'm going to center the label in the window of my circle punch and punch it out. Now if you don't have a 1 3/4 inch circle punch, just look for a circle that nests around this. It doesn't really matter too much how big your border is around here. Obviously you don't want it too big, but just enough that you leave a little border around there. So then this is going to get centered and stuck to my crushed curry scallop circle. So I'm just going to use a little piece of red liner tape for that. And actually I'm going to put some double-sided adhesive on either side. And then I'm going to center this in my scallop circle, like so. Now if you wanted to add a little bit of dimension, you could use Stampin' Dimensionals to stick this down. Or you could simply stick it flat using your red liner tape. Now the flatter it is, the less likely it's going to get caught on things if you're carrying this around in your purse. So if you're primarily planning on carrying it in your purse, use red liner tape. If you're going to keep this by the phone, then at that point that's where you probably want to just use Stampin' Dimensionals. So I'm just going to find some Stampin' Dimensionals because I think I'm going to do that with mine, and I'll be back. Now before I add my Stampin' Dimensionals, I am going to add some rhinestones. I always like to add a little bit of bling to my project, and I'm just using Stampin' Up's clear rhinestones, and I'm putting one in the center of each of my scallops. Now these rhinestones are self-adhesive, but of course again, depending on how much you're going to be handling this tin, you may want to consider using a strong adhesive like Crystal Effects to stick them down, because then you know they're not going to accidentally fall off. For the sake of time, right now, I'm just going to put these rhinestones on as is. So I'm going to go ahead, finish putting on my rhinestones, and then I will be back. So with my rhinestones now on, I'm going to take some Stampin' Dimensionals and place them on the back of my label, remove the backing, and then, whoa, did not mean to do that, and then just stick it down. And I'm centering it so that there's an equal border hanging above the top and bottom of this strip, and it's positioned about 1/2 inch in from the right edge, and then press that down. So there you can see what that looks like. So here I have got my 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 inch CD tin. You can see here how it opens. Now when you get the tins, if you purchase these from us, it has a liner inside that you're going to need to pull off. And I've placed my sticky strip all around the perimeter. Now if you have some, it's helpful to put a piece of double-sided adhesive in the center, and that's just to help you with your positioning. It's going to hold this in place until you're ready to stick it down permanently with the red liner tape. So you want to make sure you center this, and I'm not pressing it onto my adhesive until I'm happy with how this is centered. So then if you feel, you can see here how easy it comes off, so if you feel like you haven't quite got it centered, you can rearrange it. And then once you're happy with the centering, you press it down against that adhesive. Then you can very carefully pull up the side. The adhesive will keep it from shifting. And I'm just grabbing my scissors here, removing the backing from my red liner tape, from one piece of it, and sticking this down. So now I can go ahead, remove the backing from my remaining pieces, and then my decorative piece for the front cover will be firmly stuck to my tin. So there you can see what that looks like. The front cover of our tin has now been decorated. So we're now ready to decorate the inside of the tin, and that's where this 5x5 piece is going to come in. Now I usually only put pattern paper on the inside of the tin here, simply because most of the cover is going to be taken up by our calendar, as you can see here. And for the calendar, I'm once again using my red liner tape, and I'm putting a strip at the top. You could put one at the bottom if you wanted to. Really, you just want something that's going to hold that in place, and then every year you can swap it out. Maybe I will put one at the bottom, but no more than that. So next year, for the 2015 year, I'll just pull this out of the inside of my tin and then replace it. So you can keep using your same tin over and over again. So now I'm just going to center this in my tin, and then press down. Let's see. Yep, that's well stuck. It was just a teeny little bit off center, but nothing we can do about it now. So now I'm opening it up, removing the backing of this piece of red liner tape, and then pressing that down, and you can see we've now got the calendar stuck to the inside of the tin. Now for my pattern paper piece, I'm going to put my red liner tape, I think I'll just put it on the inside of my tin. So, and then once again I'm going to grab a piece of double-sided tape just to help me position my piece before I stick it down. And then very carefully lift up the sides, remove the backing, and the inside of your tin will be decorated. And then the last thing we have to do is simply the notepad, like so. Now for the notepad, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put red liner tape, and this time I think I really am just going to put one piece on the back. Oops. Let's see if this works a little bit better like this. There you can see, so that's now stuck down. Then you just put your little pen in And you can see we have a really cute calendar and notepad tin. If you enjoyed this video, you enjoy the way we teach and would like to learn even more, we invite you to check out Paper Crafter's library. Whether you're a beginner looking to learn the basics or an advanced paper crafter looking to learn new skills and techniques, you'll find it all here. Stamping, card making, scrapbooking, altered art, mixed media, we cover it all. With over 1,600 videos currently in our library and videos added each month, we are the largest and most comprehensive online library of video tutorials for paper crafters on the internet. We invite you to visit our library and see what we're all about.